Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. The SMG category here in Warzone 2 Season 2 is pretty competitive. We saw a lot of adjustments, some very surprising adjustments to a handful of the SMGs with the Season 2 patch. So today, I wanted to break down the current top 5 subs in the game right now. Starting first at number 5, we've got the MP7, aka the Vel. This is just kind of your standard SMG. There are some other really good honorable mentions here. The Mini Bach has a great damage per mag, but a little bit of a lower TTK. I think the Hurricane is pretty solid as well. Like, there's certainly a lot of really solid choices, but the MP7's kind of just the do-it-all SMG, if you will. A decent TTK for close range, certainly capable of holding its own because it's very easy to use, but also it can perform some in the mid-range as well for sort of a sniper support build, which I really like to see. So this setup primarily is based around mobility because it's already very easy to use. The control here is super straightforward. So first up, I've got the Soldier rear grip for the better ADS and sprint to fire, and I'm tuning to maximize that even more. I've got the RXT stock here as well, which again is better for sprint speed and ADS. Here I go for a little bit of stability on that bottom tune. You could also go for the strafe speed if you wanted to, totally up to you, and the better ADS once more. I'm always pretty much running a laser on my SMGs because these are going to help out with ADS and sprint to fire, which are two of the most important stats for an SMG in general. And of course, I'm going to tune to maximize that every single time as well. The drop grip here is basically a minimal con, decent pro underbarrel that I like to run on my subs. Better hip fire accuracy, so if you're transitioning close range from hip fire to ADS, it's going to be super accurate that way, and you can tune for the better mobility, which of course is what I do here. Then lastly, just for some consistency for maybe some of the mid-range and to keep it easy to shoot, I go for the Lockshot KT85, going to help out just in general with that control, and I tune for the better ADS and gun kick control on there. Really like how the MP7 feels. It's not anything crazy, it's just consistent middle of the ground SMG. And number 4, I've actually got the MX9, and quite frankly, I think you can make an argument to, flip-flop 4 and 5 depending on who you ask. The MP7 and the MX9 are both, just like I said with the MP7, not like a crazy, insane, broken SMG. They're just good at being close range options and maybe some mid-range here as well. Again, the MX9, so easy to shoot. The recoil here is about as easy as it gets when it comes to SMGs in particular. The only thing holding this gun back is the magazine capacity. 32 round mag is the max you can run, which of course we are doing here. If this was 45, 50, this might be a top 2 SMG because it's so easy to use, and the TTK is pretty competitive as well. I also got the Q900 rear grip on here, better ADS and sprint to fire, of course tuning to maximize those as well. Behind the face cam, I actually have the C11 riser comb on here. This again is going to help out with that ADS and sprint to fire. I do tune for a bit of recoil stabilization here just for the mid-range to keep it reliable and usable there, right? Also the ADS speed on there as well. I have to use an optic on the MX9. The iron sights, I hate. Just the entire AUG platform here, basically. I'm not really a huge fan of the irons, so Chrono Mini Pro basic blue dot here, furthest eye position, faster ADS on that tune. And then I also end up going for the Bruin S901 barrel. This is actually going to help out in a ton of solid ways. Velocity and range for some of the mid-range, but also movement speed and hip fire accuracy. And then I just go ahead and I tune for the better mobility in general here. So that's a really solid barrel in this build in particular. Going to capitalize on what you really want to focus on and give you a nice few extra benefits as well. Very solid SMG choice. Then at number 3, I've got the Vaznev. Now this did catch a slight nerf with the Season 2 update. Kind of a surprising one too, because I didn't feel like the Vaznev was crazy broken. And its best, strengths, if you will, its close range didn't actually get nerfed with the Season 2 patch. They nerfed its mid to long range, so its damage drop off is a lot more noticeable than before. But if you're playing super aggressive with this thing for close range, it's right there with the top tier choices. Its TTK is super competitive in the first, like 10 to 12 meters or so, which is where a lot of SMG gunfights are obviously going to take place. So first up here, I got the True Tac rear grip, better ADS and sprint to fire, sort of copy and paste here on the rear grips, tuning to enhance that once again. I got the R7 stock. This again is going to help out with the sprint speed and the ADS just to make it even more aggressive. I once more tune for the slightly better stability for maybe some of the mid-range fights if I have to take a fight there, and the better ADS yet again. Olay laser, no surprise here, better ADS and sprint to fire on these tunes to maximize that speed even more. I do use the shark fin underbarrel. You could also go for the drop grip here if you wanted to as well. Both of those are good choices. Here we're basically just tuning to get that free ADS speed and aim walking speed with no real cons in play. Then lastly, I do use the CAS 1, which really now is more important than ever, just because that damage range was nerfed. So this will help extend that out a little bit and make it a bit more competitive in the, 12 to 15, 16, 17 meter range there, which could be the difference of you winning or losing a gunfight. It does slow it down a bit, but we tune for the better mobility. And let's face it, we got so many other mobility based attachments here. It's not going to be a huge hindrance whatsoever. This thing is very reliable for those close range fights. Real quick before we jump into the number 2 spot here, quick reminder, if you guys are new to the channel or if you have not already subscribed, every day I'm your one-stop shop for all things going on between MW2, Warzone 2, and DMZ. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications so you can always stay up to date. And of course, if you guys enjoy the video or if you find it helpful at all, let me know by dropping a like on it. Really would be appreciated, as it does really help grow the channel. All right, now as we get into the number 2 spot, just a heads up, you're getting a step up from post-edit Zach today. You're getting a whole new day, new outfit Zach today, because naturally with my in real life COD timing, about 2 hours after I rendered the initial version of this top 5 SMG video, they pushed out an update that nerfed the Fennec and completely screwed up my number 2 and number 1 spots in the video. So now we're here updating this as needed. The Fennec not even in the top 5 anymore. That thing got destroyed, as we've talked about. Coming in at the new number 2 spot, the PDSW, aka the P90. Low-key, this is not one that I expected to be here. I ran the stats and it's like actually crazy how underrated the P90 is in this game. It's got a great TTK throughout, also much better range than a lot of the other SMGs as well. So definitely deserving of the number 2 spot. What I love about this build in particular, there are some attachments behind the face cam here with the comb as well, is that you can focus so much on mobility that this thing is going to run and gun, fly and fry, and you don't have to worry about magazine size because it comes stock with the 50 rounds. Like, it's actually a really unique gun. It has a really unique build here. So first up, because we're focusing so much on mobility everywhere else, I do use the Lockshot KT85 muzzle here to give me some decent control, and I just tuned for the better gun kick control and recoil stabilization here. Nothing really out of the ordinary there. Also running the 7mm laser again, per usual, tuning for the faster ADS and sprint to fire to capitalize on the stats we're already getting there out of the attachment itself. The one thing I will say, the drawback of the PDSW, the P90, is the iron sights I'm not really a huge fan of. So that's all personal preference, of course. So I go ahead and use the Chrono Mini Pro, the blue dot, right? Furthest eye position, faster ADS on the tune there. If you like the iron sights, go ahead, throw on a stock if you wanted to. You could use like the extended stock here for the better sprint speed, the CQB stock for the better ADS. You got some other options, but I don't really like the irons. Behind the face cam, I've got the TV Tacom comb, which is for better ADS and sprint to fire. I'm tuning to maximize the ADS a little bit more, then also the better aim walking speed or strafe speed there, which is nice and convenient. Then lastly, I go for the Q900 rear grip again for the better ADS and sprint to fire, tuning to maximize that once more. So highly underrated SMG here, and way better than I thought it actually was. Highly recommend trying this one out. And then my new number 1 spot, previously what was number 2, then the Fennec was number 1, the MP5, the Lachmann sub here. This is by far the new best and most desirable SMG after this update. Now, in my opinion, this thing is good for control, good for close range mobility. It's very fast, very aggressive, also super easy to use, and has a phenomenal TTK. So initially here, I got the TCG-10 rear grip. This is for better recoil control because frankly, the grip selection here, not nearly as good as the other subs. Flinch resistance, kind of obsolete, so TCG is really the only option here. So you just tune for the inverse, you go for the better ADS and sprint to fire, so you're getting control and mobility out of this one attachment, which is a nice little added bonus. 40 round extended mag. 50 is a little bit too slow for me. If you're okay with that slightly slower reload and movement and ADS speed, you could always use that, but 40 to me is totally sufficient for duos, trios, and quads. 7mm laser, yet again, no surprises here, tuning once more for the faster ADS and sprint to fire. I've got the lock grip precision on here. You could go a handful of different ways with your underbarrels though. If you wanted to use like the shark fin, you could do that. If you wanted to use the drop grip, you could do that. I use lock grip precision because this is also really good for the hip fire as well as the recoil. So if you're transitioning a lot, which oftentimes with this MP5 I do, I run up close range, start hip firing, transition into the ADS. This is a really solid option for that, but there are certainly plenty of other good underbarrels as well for what it's worth. Then of course we're going ahead tuning that for the faster ADS, the slightly faster hip walking speed, and lastly I go for the Falcon barrel, which not only sounds awesome, but it helps out a ton with your movement. So it's going to absolutely just be a super fast option, super aggressive option for close range gameplay, just really stacking onto the pros of the MP5 in the current meta. I tune here for the better ADS, and then I go slightly for the steadiness. If you wanted to go for the strafe, you could do that as well. I just like some of that consistency there for like the mid-range engagements, but overall MP5 now feeling really good. And that being said, those are the new top 5 SMGs here in Warzone 2 Season 2. That's going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. That way you can always guarantee you're up to date with absolutely everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.